everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. After Boston slapped Montreal around in APA hockey last week, New Game November is going to move to a very unfamiliar setting for yours truly as we play Ark Nova from Feuerland Spiele. In this game, we're trying to build the most appealing zoo while also maintaining our reputation in the zoological community. And that's at least the goal in the multiplayer game. Here, we've got all of our score markers, and our goal is simply to get two of them to cross in the solo mode. And I'm getting slightly spoilerific at this point, but this is one of those games where the theme really doesn't do much for me, but it's mechanically interesting enough to keep me engaged. Anyway, we have a fair amount to set up, so we're going to be touring the board a little bit. First up, we're going to stop at my main play area. We'll be building our zoo on this map. These maps are double-sided. We're using map A for starters. As you can see, we start off with a standard 3-space enclosure and a kiosk. The kiosks are helpful in when you fill them with something. I believe they give you 1 money on income, and that'll make more sense when we get into the game. I wish there was something in here that would remind you what each of the buildings does. Where on earth? Take income. Yes, income for the kiosks for each unique building, occupied standard closure, special enclosure, and pavilion adjacent to it. Okay, so that's what the kiosks are for. As you can see, we also get bonuses when we cover up the specific spaces. Those give us X tokens. I'll explain more what those are for when we get them. That gives us reputation on the board, and that'll make more sense when we get up to the main board. More money, cards. I believe that's my icon glossary over here. Why is it not listed on here? That makes no sense. I believe that's take 1 card from within reputation range or 1 from the deck. Again, that'll make more sense when we get into that. That's another associate, which are these guys. That's more reputation. These 2 spaces are particular in that you have to have one of your action cards flipped over. And I'll explain how that works when it becomes relevant for us. And we've got our various partnerships. And then universities. Those will make more sense when we move over to the organization board. But we've got our actions set up. So we've got 5 different levels of actions down here. On level 1 is always play animals, where the actions basically get stronger depending on what level you're at with them. But the other 4 are randomized. So on level 2, we've got build, where we're building 1 building with a maximum size of X, pay 2 money per space. Those are the buildings that are available. And since it's 2, we can build up to size 2 spaces. On level 3, we've got sponsors, where we can play a sponsors card with a maximum level of X from our hand, in this case 3, or break X and gain 3 money. When we get to the solo specific rules, we'll see that we don't actually use a break token, but we will get the money for that. On level 4, we've got cards. Once again, we won't be breaking. We'll draw the cards from the deck or snap. What snap means is take any card that's out on the board, and we'll go to get into that when we get up to the board. And on level 5, we've got associations, where you can perform an association task with maximum value of X. So that's probably a good time to move up to the Actually, before we move up to the association board, we're going to set up a few other things. So I'm going to look at my 2 possible final scoring cards, and I'll explain more about how these work when we get... There's actually something relevant on the board, which I'll point out when we get to it. So our first possible scoring card is Naturalist Zoo. Will gain reputation for empty building spaces in your zoo, and then you can see how they scale with the empty spaces. Next up, our other possible scoring card, Architectural Zoo. Gain reputation for the construction of your zoo. 1 reputation for connecting water, rock, border spaces, and completely covering the zoo map. Then we need to look at our starting hand. We'll be keeping 4 of these, if I can ever get my hands under it. First card up to look at we have a sponsor's card, level 5, maximum 25 appeal. That'll make more sense when we get up to the board. We gain 1 appeal for each connected rock space at the end of the game. Actually, that's an immediate effect. And then we gain 1 reputation at the end of the game for each 2 isolated rock spaces. I don't know if I'm going to keep that. Next up, level 5 costing 32 money. It's a proboscis monkey. I'm not going to try to pronounce the scientific name for that. That gives us a primate and an Asia tag, but we need to have 2 primates, and we can only play that on level 2. Special ability is Dominance. You may add the base conservation card project Primates to your hand if it's not already in the game. You would get 2 reputation and 10 appeal. That's what the numbers at the bottom are. Since we'd have to have a level 2, since we have to have our animals action flipped, I don't think I'm going to keep that one either. Next up is a Scarlet Macaw, taking level 1, actually taking a 1-space enclosure costing 16 money, giving us a bird tag and a North America, but we need a partnership with North America to play that. Posturing 3 means up to 3 times we can place a free kiosk or pavilion, and gives us 4 appeal. That might be worth keeping. Next up, looks like any standard 1-space enclosure. It's a petting zoo costing 7 money. Petting zoo animal gains 3 appeal for each petting zoo animal in your zoo. We'd get a reputation and appeal based on this. I'll put that in the maybe pile. Next up, taking up to 3 spaces or 2 if one of them is a special enclosure, I believe is what that entails. Let me just look here. Looks like a specific special enclosure, if it is an immediate effect, build for free. Oh, looks like it's 2 if we have if it's a reptile house, but I could be wrong on that. Costing 22 money, giving us a reptile and an Africa tag. An African spurred tortoise. Sunbathing 3, you may sell up to 3 cards from your hand for 4 money each, giving you a reputation and 6 appeal. That could actually be pretty good, especially since we've got a 3 reputation, since we got a space 3 enclosure ready to go. I'll put that in the keep pile for now. Next up, a sponsor's card level 5, diversity research. You may cover rock and water spaces and ignore all requirements for rock and water spaces. At the end of the game, immediately gain 2 money for each rock and water and rock icon in your zoo. And then maximum of 3 times, gain 2 appeal at the end of the game for every rock and water space you have. Since I'd have to have level 2 sponsors on that, I'm not going to keep that most likely. Next card up. Level 4, and this is what I was talking about when it's looking for a water space. But 2 if it's in a reptile house, costing 16 money, giving you a lizard tag and a North America. The broad-snouted caiman, snapping 1, gain any 1 card from the display, giving you 6 appeal. That's actually pretty good as well. Next up, or last up I should say, is a great hornbill, taking up at least 2 spaces of an enclosure, costing 13 money, giving you a bird and an Asia tag. Boost build. After finishing the current action, you may place your build action card on space 1 or space 5. Ooh, that could be handy. I'm actually going to keep that one as well. And then I'll move these 4 over to the discard pile. So we've got our starting hand all set to go. Actually, do we want anything from here? I don't think so, no. So right now we've got all animals, which means we're going to need money pretty quickly. But let's make our next stop over at the association board. Here's the conservation board. As you can see, we've got different levels. At level 2 with association, we can actually just perform simple donations to give us reputation, and that'll make more sense when we get over to the No, that's actually to give us... What is that bonus called? It's not actually reputation, because that's something... Oh, where is it? It's the association board. Oh, it's the conservation track. That's what it's called. Okay, so now that we've got that straight, so that'll advance you on the conservation track. That'll just give you a straight 2 reputation at level 2. Level 3, you can get a partnership with a zoo, and that'll actually make your animals that have that tag cheaper. So we've got a tag for Americas, Europe, Africa, Australia, and Asia. Level 4 lets you go to a university, where that tag means you only have to discard down to 5 cards. Normally it would be 3, and you get a reputation. That gives you 2 science tags. That gives you a science tag and 2 reputation. Level 5 means you can support one of these support any conservation project on the board. And we've got our 3 base projects. So first up we have Australia, requiring 5 Australia icons in your zoo. If you have 5, you can get that for 5 conservation, 4 for 4, and 2 for 2. Next up, Africa, same thing, same exact thing, just for Africa, and Europe. So not a whole lot of variety in those, and actually we've got some... None of my cards actually help with that, but those were the manageable animals. So let's move over to the main board now and finish setting everything up there. Here's the main board. I'm actually moderately surprised we were able to get this whole thing in shot, because if you remember when I unboxed Ark Nova a few months ago, it was actually a bit of a pain in the neck to actually get the board in shot, but we managed to get it in shot. So here we are. Let's go ahead and take a look at everything. So up here we've got our appeal. We start at 20 in the solo mode. Max, as you can see, we had a card that was sensitive to a max of 25, so we wouldn't be able to play those for very long in the solo mode. I think there's a rule in the expansion that lets you scale those up. So we've got that all set there. And this is the green track is actually our conservation track. There are a few things to note on here. When we get to space 2 and it's hard to see upside down, we either get a card flip or we get another associate, which we can use on the association board. When we get to 5 and 8, we'll have our choice of either straight 5 money or one of 2 bonuses. So let's find out what these 2 bonuses we have to choose from are. First up on level 5 would give you 3 X tokens. I alluded to X tokens earlier when we were looking at the map. What those are for is you can actually use those to make an action stronger. So let's say I wanted to take a cards action, but it was on level 4, but I needed to do a level 5 action. As long as I have an X token, I can spend the X token to get that up to level 5, and now I can perform the level 5 version of the action. Then the other token at 5 we have to choose from. This one's a unique one. So this one lets you play a sponsor card, but instead of using the level, you have to pay the level of the money for it. So if we had a level 4 sponsored card in hand and we took that bonus, we'd be able to play it, but we have to pay the 4 money for it. It's basically an extra sponsor play if your sponsor's card is further down, but you need a stronger sponsor because it really syncs with your strategy. So moving over to 8, we have our same choice of 5 money or 2 possible tokens. First token at level 8. I believe that just lets you take a university. Yep, from the association board. And giving you a ×2 modifier, which I don't think are used in the solo game, so I'm going to pick another one. Put that one off to the side since I'm not going to use it. We'll see about this one. 2 reputation. Okay, we can use that one. Those can go back to the supply, which they were in there. Okay. One other space of note on the conservation track is when we get to space 10, we'll need to choose one of these objective cards to keep, one of these final scoring cards to keep for the game. I mentioned reputation earlier. That's indicated by the graduation hat. When we get to 5 reputation, we get another flip. When we get to 8, we get another associate. And then we can't advance past 9 until we flip our cards action. But there, that'll give us a card from the deck. 10 will get a card from either the deck or within reputation range, I believe. Yes. That's what that one is. That'll give us a conservation, then an X token, another card from reputation range or within the deck, 1 conservation, and another X token. Then there are also spaces up. There's also... It might be hard to see from here. Let's see. You're not going to be able to read them, but I'll explain everything that's going on. There's also notes above the board in terms of the amount of money you take during the game when you get to income. One last thing I need to mention is actually this little track right here. So this is basically the timer clock for the solo game, and I'll try to point this out when we actually do it. This is how we trigger breaks in this game, in the solo game. So I think with that in mind, basically we're going to play 6 rounds until we have 2 markers left and we trigger the last break. At that point, we'll determine we'll see if our markers have crossed or not and determine victory that way. One other thing to note, that is not the entire deck. I've actually got the rest of the deck divided into 2 more thirds, just in case we start going through that deck. So actually the last thing we need to do is reveal the display. So levels 1 and 2 will go away every time we trigger a break. So our first card coming at reputation level 1 is a level 5 sponsor, spokesperson. You need a science tag, or research tag I should say. Each time you play a research icon into your zoo, gain a reputation. So that could be handy to pull out. Level 2. There's going to be a lesser flamingo taking 2, but it has to be, I believe that's adjacent to a water space, right? Yes, adjacent to water, taking 15 money. It's a bird tag in Africa, which one of our base conservation projects is sensitive to Africa. Posturing 1, you may place 1 free kiosk or pavilion. At reputation level 3, we have an Indian cobra. Level 2, but it can be 1 if it's a reptile house. Gives you a reptile and an Asia tag. Costs 13 money, but you need 2 research tags, and your animals has to be flipped to level 2, so we're probably not touching that. We're not worrying about the Hypnosis 3. That's basically a punishment with other players. So we'll use this instead. We'll use Determination instead. After the current action, perform 1 additional action, and we'll get 6 appeal for playing that out. At reputation range 4, we find a sponsor level 3 with sponsorship for reptiles, but we have to have a reptile tag in the zoo to be able to play it. During income, gain 3, 6, or 9 money for 1, 3, or 5 reptile icons in your zoo. And when you play it, you gain 1 appeal per reptile in your zoo. Reputation level 5, we have a laughing kookaburra, costing 9 money, taking a reputation, or taking a build structure of at least 2 spaces, giving you a bird and Australia tag, but you have to have an Australia tag in your zoo. One other thing to mention is that partnerships do count toward that. Iconic Animal Australia, gain 1 appeal for each Australia icon in all zoos to a max of 8. And finally, at reputation level 6, we have me with no nails, of course. Sponsor level 6, adjacent to a rock, a baboon rock. Each time you play a primate icon in your zoo, gain 2 appeal. Then you get a special baboon enclosure. You have to place it next to at least 1 rock space. At the end of the game, for every 6 primate icons, you get 1 conservation. So with that in mind, I think we're all set to get into this game. So let's move into my first turn. Looking at the board, I kind of want to start doing a little bit of setup here. So I think my first action, I'm going to take advantage of my association at level 5 to go up to the universities, to the university, and I'm going to pick up the... I think we're going to take the reputation, the research, and the 2 reputation. So I'll put that down on my on my university's spaces. I'll advance 2 reputation there. And then the way everything works, I'll tip the board down so you can see what I'm doing, or I'll tip the camera down. So I've moved my association off slightly. Everything else is going to advance. And then I'm going to put my association on level 1. That way it keeps my actions cycling. And then I'll also move the first cube over to the right, so I'm getting closer to triggering the break. It might be hard to see, and I'll actually bring this in when we get to the last one. So with my next action, I'm going to snap that. I'm going to snap the spokesperson. I'd be able to play it right away. Yeah, I think I'm going to do cards, which means I am going to snap up the spokesperson, since I do have an option at level 5 where I can snap a card, which means just take anything from the display. So everything else will move down. And then coming out into level 6 will be... Oh, I already looked at it, but we'll look at it on camera. A dugong, which has to be in at least a level 5 space and adjacent to 2 water spaces. Costs 25 money, gives us an herbivore and 2... Actually, that's not an herbivore tag, is it? It is an herbivore tag, actually. Never mind. Herbivore and 2 Australia tags, but we have to have our animals flipped to level 2. Digging 4. Choose up to 4. Discard 1 card from the display and replenish, or discard a card from your hand to draw 1 from the deck, giving you a conservation and 9 appeal. Alright, so everything else will move down. Cards will move to level 1, and we'll move the next token over. Let's see, what do we want to do? I think we want to put something... I think we're going to put that spokesperson into play with a sponsors action. So I'm going to put the sponsors into play that we snapped earlier, which means everything else will move down. Sponsors will go to level 1, and we'll go to our next action already. I think then we're going to play an animal. So we're going to put animals at level... So we're going to play out an animal, and we're going to spend... I think we're going to spend 13 money. So I'm going to go down to 12. 10, 11, 12. To play out the Great Hornbill, which only triggers when I take an animal's action. So I'll play that down. I'll get 6 appeal for that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which also moves me into getting a little bit more money for my actions, or for my income phase. Move that. Now is probably going to be a good time to build, I think. Actually, I got to flip this over to indicate that that space is now occupied. So... I think with that in mind, now I'm going to take a build action, which will cost me 2 money per space. I'm going to pay 10 money to build out a 5er. Build a 5 space. And I can put that down here. That's actually tipped down to the map so I can see where I want to put this. I'm planning on playing at least one of these animals. I'm probably going to play the broad-snouted caiman next turn. I'm apparently also challenged with English today, and for that one, I need it to be adjacent to water. So I'm going to put that right here. I'm going to be discarding soon, unless I want to take something from the deck or within reputation range. I think we're just going to put it here. Actually, could I put it... I can't put it here to get the X. I can't put it anywhere where it'll get me the X token and still not be adjacent. No, I think we'll put it... I think we'll put it there. I want the 5 money, but I don't necessarily want the card because we're going to be moving into our first break here very shortly. So we'll tip that back up. And actually, we have one more card left before we get to our break. Oh joy. Well, I think here, I know I'm getting 19 money here, but I'm not real thrilled with any of this. So, yeah, I think here we're just going to do sponsors to get 3 money, which will trigger our first break. So I'll get 3 money. And now I'll bring this up so we can see carefully that I've moved all 7 over, and there's a coffee mug down here, which is how we trigger our first break. So we'll take one of the icons, and so we'll take one of the blocks and cover the first donation icon on the association board. Then I would have to discard down to 3 cards, except I've already got 3 cards. Then we do everything else that relates to a break. So I'll return. Technically, during a multiplayer game, we would replenish the association board. For the partnerships, that'll be relevant, but for the universities, that won't be, because we can only have one of each type of university. So I won't bother replenishing that. Cards from 1 and 2 on reputation range go away. And everything else advances down. And we'll get new cards at 5 and 6. So in Okinawa, we'll find at least one, looks like one structure, 7 money for a domestic rabbit and a petting zoo, gaining 3 appeal for each petting zoo icon in your zoo. And at level 6 in Sydney, we'll find a Horsefield's Tarsier. At least one space structure, 14 money. Gives you a primate and a Europe and an Asia, but you have to have a partnership with Asia. Jumping 4 to advance the break token 4 spaces, gain 4 money. You get 2 reputation and 3 appeal for that. Then we get anything in income, which for us is 19 money. So we'll take it in smaller increments. So we'll get the actual 19 there. Then we'll advance everything back. Then we'll move our tokens back over. And with that, we're into a new round. So let's see what we're doing here. With my association at level 5, I'm once again going to take advantage of that. So I'm going to send my associate, where am I going to send him? A partnership's very tempting to get a partnership. Oh, I should have also taken an extra 1 money for a kiosk adjacent to a filled enclosure. So I should have 1 more money for that, which means I have a total of, I'm going to make some change here. I do want some singles, but I don't need that many. So that's 5. So that'll turn into a 5. So I have a total of, actually I'll make that a 10 as well. Looks like I have a total of 30 money. So, I would need an Africa partnership for that one, for the African spurred tortoise. But I was thinking about playing out the broad-snouted caiman, but I need to do 2 things. I need to get another structure up, and I need to get a... I need to get a structure up for that. I think I am going to send him over to a partnership, so I'm going to take an America's partnership, which means now my America's animals will cost me 3 less money, and the broad-snouted caiman is an America's animal. I would need to build a 3 structure, and I need a partnership to play the Scarlet Macaw anyway. So I think with that in mind, so we'll advance that. Then I'm going to take a build action. I'm going to pay 6 money to build a 3 size structure. So I'm going to get another 3 out, and I'm going to put this one... I'm going to put this one... Do I need... If I'm going to play the macaw as well, do I need that to be adjacent to anything? Not necessarily. Okay. So I'm going to put it here, and I'll get an X token, mostly so I can show you how these X tokens work. This is probably not going to be a winning zoo anyway, but I can at least show you how the game works. So that moves the next token over toward a break. For my next action, I think we are going to take an animals action, and I am going to spend the X token to make that a level 5. Since I've got partnerships, and I've got a partnership with the Americas, I actually have to pay 3 less money for each of these animals. So I'm going to pay... First I'm going to pay 13 money. To play out my broad-snouted caiman, which I can put that in here, so that's now occupied. And it had to be adjacent to water, so tipping down, we'll see that this structure that I flipped over for the caiman is adjacent to water. Then I can gain any card from the display, and I think I want... What do I want here? I guess I'll take the baboon rock. Not that it's going to be doing me much good. Actually, yeah, we'll take the baboon rock, which means these will move down. I'll need to play that with a sponsor's 6. The only thing I don't like about it. Then replacing the card in the display is an expert in large animals. Your cost to play a large animal is reduced by 4, and a large animal is anything that takes up 4 or more spaces. And then immediately you get 2 appeal, looks like per 4+ animal you have in your zoo. And then remember, since I played the animals at a level 5, I actually have a second animal that I can play. The question is, do I have enough money to play the animal that I wanted to? And the answer is, of course, no. So I didn't even need to spend the X token, but I would have been... That was a little short-sighted on my part, but I do have an option now where after I finish the current action, I can put my build on either 1 or 5, and I'm actually going to leave it. Right, that was kind of dumb on my part, but we'll advance. What did we do? I think it was... I know we had to build... Okay, we did reputation, we did association, then we had to build the 3-space enclosure, then we played the caiman. Okay, so now we've got that figured out. What do I want to do here? I'm not playing that sponsor card. I think we're going to... I'm going to do a cards action, because I'm not completely in love with what's in my hand. So I'm going to draw... Actually, I don't think I want to snap anything, no. So I'm just going to draw 3 cards and discard 1 from my hand. So 3 cards coming up. Actually... I take that back. Now that I look, I think I have a few large animals in hand. No, I don't. I was looking at that expert in large animals. I think if I was thinking a little bit more, I might have used the X token on the cards, but I don't think it was a low enough level at the time. Actually, it might have been high enough, but if I would have sequenced that differently, I would have gotten it. But we're going to use cards, and we're going to draw 3 from the deck. So first up we find a cheetah, needs a 5-space enclosure costing 17 money, gives 2 predators and an Africa tag. Sprint 3 to draw 3 cards from the deck, and you get 6 appeal, which reminds me, I forgot to take the 6 appeal for the Cayman. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oop. Well, next card up we'll see is a research, requiring a research icon in your zoo. 5 gets you 4 conservation, 4 gets you 3, 2 gets you 2. And expert in herbivores. Each time an herbivore is played into any zoo, gain 3 money. It looks like, well, probably not including that one. What card do I not want to keep? I think all of these are actually pretty good. I think we're going to toss the African spurred tortoise, though. Then everything else will move down. And that will advance toward our next break. Sponsors. What do I want to do with sponsors? If I had that X token, I probably would have been able to play this baboon rock. But the problem is we don't have primate icons. Well, we have 1 coming out, but we need an Asia partnership for an Asia partnership for that one. Right. So I think here we're going to... We don't have another associate to do an association task. So I think... And we're short on money to be able to play animals. So I think we're just going to sponsors and get 5 more money. Even though we're going to be heading into a break pretty soon. Actually, after this next action, we're going to be heading for a break. And I think I'm going to play... I'm going to play an animal out now that I've got enough money to do this. I'm going to play out the... I need to change for that. I'm going to play out a Scarlet Macaw. I do have a partnership with the Americas that I need. Posturing 3, I'll be able to place 1 free kiosk or pavilion up to 3 times. So I'll make sure I take my 4 appeal. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I get to place 3 free kiosks or pavilions. Pavilions give me 1. I think pavilions give me a 1x 1 appeal. I'm trying to find the building. Here we go. Kiosk must be always at least 3 spaces away. I wish there was a reference for what the buildings actually do. But yeah, I think each can't grant you income. Each pavilion you build immediately only once increases the appeal of your zoo by 1. Okay. All right, so we've got 3 kiosks and pavilions. They're double-sided. So I'm going to put a kiosk here. I'm going to put a kiosk here, which will give me a snack. I know I can't put it there because it's not close enough. It's too close to this kiosk. I'll put one there. I'll put a kiosk here, which is far enough away. That'll give me a card from the deck or within reputation range. And I'll put this one... I'll make that a pavilion, I think, and put it here. So I'll get 1 appeal for the pavilion. And then I have... That's a starter kiosk, and I have a card from the deck or reputation range, but I'm going to be heading into a break here shortly. So it's just going to get discarded. Well, probably just going to be discard fodder, but I think from the deck or reputation range. So I think we're just going to go to the deck for one. And for this we'll find Waza Special Assignment. Sponsorship at level 6 and you need 6 reputation. Choose and mark 2- or 4+ on this card. Reveal cards from the deck and add the first card of the chosen kind to your hand. You can't play the unmarked kind anymore. Each time you play a small or a large animal, you gain 2 or 4 appeal respectively. That's not that great. We'll slide everything down. And then we have triggered another break. So for the break procedure, once again, we'll take the token from here, cover the 5 cost on the donation. Then I'll discard down to 3 cards. I don't think I want that. The Waza Special Assignment that I just drew, and I don't think I want the... I don't think I want the Baboon Rock. I was looking at that, but no, I don't think I do. So we'll discard that. Then we'll return Associates. I forgot to do that last time, but I did remember later. Okay, then we discard the cards at reputation ranges 1 and 2. We'll slide everything else down and we'll get new cards at 5 and 6. So going to reputation level 5 we have just a straight secretary bird, taking at least 4 spaces, 1 if it's a birdhouse, costing 14 money, giving you a bird and an Africa tag, giving you 1 conservation and 4 appeal. Next up, an American alligator, taking at least a 4-space enclosure adjacent to water. 2 if it's a, I believe that's a water enclosure, isn't it? A reptile house. Costing 18 money, giving you a reptile and an America's tag. Snapping 1, gain any 1 card from the display, and you get 7 appeal when you play it. Then we go into income, so I will get 22, 3, 4 money. 2, 3, 4. Because I've got 2 kiosks adjacent to filled structures. And I think that's everything there. So those will move over. We're into round 3 now, and my zoo is not looking very good, but let's see what we can do about that. What I can do with it right now is for my first action, I'll take an association level 5 and send my associate over to the universities. I'll grab 2 research, play that over there, and then each time I play a research icon into my zoo, I gain a reputation for that. So I'll move that down there. More importantly, though, by placing my second university, I do get a card flip. And I think I'm going to flip the... I don't know what I want to flip here. Do I want to flip association? I don't necessarily want to flip association because I only have 1 associate right now. Build could be helpful to get me multiple structures, especially if I had, well, I'd be a little warmer to that if I had more small animals and I needed more enclosures for that. Cards could be handy. Draw cards from within reputation range or the deck or snap. Sponsors gives me X+1. Break would give me double. And that would give me a reputation when I play animals. I think I'm going to flip... cards, actually. So we'll see. So let's take a look at cards when we flip it. Draw cards from within the reputation range or the deck or snap. And we can see that the ranges get a little bit stronger there. And at level 3 and up, which we're going to be at level 4, we can also snap from the deck, and we can draw within reputation range, which means within reputation range means since I'm here, that means these 3 cards are all fair game. And that moves over. And looking at my next action, I kind of, actually, no, I didn't job myself out a little bit. Actually, this might have been helpful to do it this way. So I'm going to take a build action, and I'm going to pay 10 money to build a 5-space structure. We'll put that, I think we'll put that here, which will give me another associate, and we take from the bottom up. So we'll cover it like so, then we'll move all of that down. And we'll move our next token over. So we're getting near, as you can see in the solo mode, the clock starts getting faster and faster in terms of how fast you finish the game. So for my next action, do I immediately want to, actually, can I play that cheetah out? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I exactly could. And I think I will. Yeah, we'll go ahead and play animals here. So for exactly 17, this will clean me out. But I will go ahead and play the cheetah out, which will give me another 6 appeal, and I can draw 3 cards from the deck. So we'll move those there. I'm going to move the token over, and then I'll go draw my 3 cards, which is also my first Africa tag. So 3 cards from the deck. First up, we find a pygmy hippopotamus, taking at least a 2-space enclosure adjacent to water, costing 15 money. It's an herbivore tag and an Africa. We need a partnership with Africa, which we could go get this turn. Action sponsors. After finishing the current action, you may perform the sponsors action, and you get 6 appeal for that. Which reminds me, I didn't take the 6 appeal for playing out the cheetah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Next up, we have a level 3-space enclosure that has to be adjacent to a rock space. A ring-tailed lemur, giving you a primate and an Africa, costing 12 money. Sunbathing 3. You may sell 3 cards from your hand for 4 money each and 6 appeal. Last up, 1-space enclosure, 7 money. Petting zoo icon, it's an alpaca. Petting zoo animal, gain 3 icons for each petting zoo icon in your 3 appeal for each petting zoo animal icon in your zoo. Okay. Did we get any? We don't have any sponsors there. So I think we're just going to like I said, I could go get that partnership I would need right now for Africa, and I think I will with an association. So I'll send the associate there, get the Africa partnership, which will give me another flip. This time I'm going to flip. This time I'm going to flip sponsors, actually. So we'll see what we flip into with sponsors. Play 1 or more sponsor cards with a maximum total level of X plus 1 from your hand or from within reputation range with additional costs. Or you can break X to gain double your level. So in this case, if we took sponsors, we'd gain 8 money for that. And we didn't play a research icon into there. Cards just are not coming up for us today, folks. Well, this kind of blows chunks. We've got 2 more actions before we trigger another break. So I think with that in mind, let's see, what's within reputation range? We'd still need a Europe or an Asia partnership, which we can't go get until we flip association, which might be worth it when we get to the next reputation advance. But I don't think we have any way to play research icons into our zoo. So I think here, I think I'm just going to do sponsors to get 8 money, since sponsors was at level 4. So I'll get my 8 money. 6, 7, 8. There we are. We have one more action until we go into our next break. And I think... Oh, I did have a sponsors card I could have played. You know what? I'm going to retcon that, actually. I'm going to retcon taking the 8 money because I forgot I had a sponsors card in hand. So I'm going to retcon taking the 8 money and play out Expert in Herbivores instead, since it was at level 4. And there's nothing within reputation range that I could have played either, since I did have sponsors flipped at the time. We still have one more card until one more action until break, and I think that is going to be I'm just going to take 2 money from another sponsor's action, because I'm desperate for money here. But that will trigger another break, which means I have to discard down to 3 cards. I'm going to I'm going to bin the alpaca. Then we take another cube covering the 5 donation space. Let's see, then we should have replenished the partnerships. You can have double partnerships, but you can't have the double universities. So we need another Africa and an Americas. Then we get associates back, which I've got 2 of now. Let's see, then we discard these 2 cards. These move into reputation range. And then as far as 5 and 6 go, we have a golden eagle, taking a 5-space enclosure adjacent to a rock, at least one if it's a birdhouse, giving you a bird and a Europe tag, costing 20 money, and animals has to be flipped to level 2. After finishing the current action, perform 1 additional action, 7 appeal for that. And Tasmanian Devil, 1 space enclosure, 11 money. You need a research for that. Predator and an Australia tag. Pouch 1, you may place 1 card from your hand under this card to gain 2 appeal, 1 reputation, and 4 appeal. And we'll move that back over, and we'll be into round. This should be round 4 already. 4, 5. Okay, yeah, this is round 4 now, and let's see if we can do something about making this zoo a little bit better. You know what would really help to make a zoo better? Money! So I get 23 from my current appeal level, 5 for 2 kiosks that are currently next to occupied structures. Money would be helpful in this game, Phoenix. Let's not forget that, shall we? Let's see, what do I want to do first here? I could start building more enclosures. Yeah, that's actually fairly tempting. There's also a temptation to start drawing cards again. Let's see, so far I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 research icons. If I can get association up to level 5, I could play out a new conservation project, I believe, is how that works. Let me just double check that. Yep, okay. Alright, so I don't really have much to help me with the conservation projects on board. I'd like to get another research icon in there, but... well, I think here... I'm going to build, and I'm going to pay... I want to play with this a little bit. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get to this reputation so I can get another card flip. I want to put as big a structure as I can there. I can't put a 5 there. Actually, I can't put any more 5s out, because none of the 5s will fit anymore until I flip my build, and I'm not sure I am here. Especially if I go for that 2 reputation now. I can only build 1 building there. I can't fit a 4 there. I think the best I can do there, I think, is a 3. So I'll pay 6 money for that. To put out a 3 structure covering up that reputation space, which will advance me 1, 2, and it'll give me another card flip. And I think the card I want to flip here is my association. Now that I've got a couple of associates, I'll flip this into... perform 1 or more different association tasks with a maximum total value of X. In addition, you may make 1 donation, and you may play conservation projects cards from within reputation range with additional costs. So that's a flip now. That's our first action. Our second action here, we're advancing association slowly. I'm at reputation 5, so I have an option of... actually, I have access to a fair amount of the board right now. With X plus 1, that would be a 3. I don't really have a lot of good options. Well, I do have a 3 space that I do have a couple 3 spaces that are adjacent to kiosks right now, so I think I'll go ahead and play an animal from my hand. Actually, what do I want to do here? I went and got this Africa partnership, so I might as well use it. So I'll go down, I'll pay 15 money, taking 5 change. I'll play out the Pygmy Hippopotamus since I have an Africa's partnership, and I remembered to play the Herbivores card, so we'll advance that. Oop. That is not flipped, and of course it fell under the table. Come on, there we go. All right, so animals will advance. We'll move to 1. So the Pygmy Hippopotamus, we're going to flip this. Actually, we're going to flip this 3 structure for that. So now this kiosk will give us money on income phase. Then we'll get 6 appeal for that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we have a few things that trigger. So when we play an herbivore icon into a zoo, which that is, we'll get 3 money for that. And then we can we can play sponsors. Then we can perform the sponsors action, where we can play 1 or more sponsor cards with a maximum total level of X plus 1 from your hand or within reputation range. And in this case, we're going to play... how am I doing toward my scoring cards? I'm actually probably doing pretty terrible. Yeah, we need to work on doing a little bit of building here. I'm gonna leave those face up so I can keep an eye on those. All right, that should be there. I can sponsors, which I think I will do sponsors, actually. I will play a card from within reputation range of X plus 1. I'll play out expert in large animals. So for every 4+ animal, and I have 2, I gain, I believe that's a per. Right? I'm going to rule that that's an immediate one-time effect. So yeah, it looks like I get 4 appeal. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then sponsors will move down to level 1. Then we'll move all of that up. And we'll flip over a new card. We'll find White Rhinoceros, taking a 4-space enclosure, needing to be adjacent to a rock. Costs 24 money, and gives you an herbivore and an Africa tag. Assertion: you may add any one of the unused base conservation projects to your hand, giving you 9 appeal. Which means my cost to play a large animal is now reduced by 4. Not that that's very helpful to me right now. Well, now I'm at association level. Now I'm at association level 4, where I could go make a donation, and I could support a conservation project, which I actually have one in my hand that I could use. That'll be each time I play a research icon into my zoo. Okay, so I only played the one. I'm actually going to do association this time, so I'm going to perform 2 tasks. I'm going to go association X plus, that's equal to X, so I need to get that up 1 more level before I do that. Right, so I think with that in mind, I need to do cards here. Is there anything I want to snap? I could snap that American alligator. I could snap the golden eagle, but I need to get a flip on animals, and I've got at least one way I can do. Well, I'll be flipping that. I can flip animals if I take the. If I can get some I was looking at a way I could flip animals, but I just realized I got past the flip on. Actually, supporting a conservation project would let me get another flip. So I think this will still work. So I can, actually that's not within reputation range, so that would be a snap. Actually it would cost me 16 to do that. Yeah, that's probably fine. So we'll grab the golden eagle. That'll be my snap. And all of this moves down, and replacing that will be a greater flamingo, needing a 3-space enclosure adjacent to water, costing 16 money, giving you a bird and a Europe tag. Posturing 1. You may place 1 free kiosk or pavilion, giving you 7 appeal. Alright, so cards moves down. That moves over. We're 1 space from triggering a break, which will be association. So now I'll actually be able to go over here and I'll make a donation. So I'll pay 7 money for my donation, and I believe donations have to come from the supply. Let me just check that. From the supply, yep. Alright, so we'll make a donation which will advance my conservation up 1, finally. And then going over to the conservation projects, I'll actually support research. And what do I want here? I think we'll take 1 off of conservation. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 research icons in my zoo, so I can advance my conservation by 3. 1, 2, 3. And now I have an option. I can either flip a card or get another associate. And this plan required me to flip animals. So we'll flip animals. Playing animal cards from my hand or reputation range with additional costs. This will be level 4 coming up. So I can play 2 animals from my hand. If I were to get it up to level 5, I could play 1 and gain 1 reputation. So that will move there. Animals will go to level 4. And that's there. And that was our last card before we get to break. So I would start by discarding down to 3, except I'm already there. This one goes over the next donation icon. Okay, then we recall associates. Discard these 2 cards, and we'll slide everything else down and we'll replenish the display. Coming up first we have Science Lab, level 5, and you need sponsors flipped, which we have. On income, you take 1 card from the deck or in reputation range. At the end of the game, gain 1 or 2 conservation for 3 or 6 research icons. And South American Cody, taking a 2 size structure, 11 money, giving you, what is that tag? That's a bear tag. Predator and Americas, giving you 4 appeal as well. Next we gain money, so I gain another conservation, which will give me an option. This will give me some options here. Let me take the rest of my income, then I got to look at my hand so I can think about what I want to do with that. I get 26, 7, 8, 9 money. So I will trade, actually let's go 25, 6, 7, 8, 9. One concert, actually I didn't take my conservation. So I don't have a sponsor's card in hand. And there isn't one within reputation range, but I don't think I could play within reputation range when I get it on income. Let's take a look here. So do I want 5 more money or do I want 3 X tokens? I think here I want... I think here I just want 3 X tokens. I mean, that's not that great right now, but it's probably workable. So that will actually do it for... That'll actually do it for round 4. We're heading into round 5 now, and everything is moving very quickly. So let's see what we can do with finishing this game pretty quick. I'm going to start off by taking an animals action. I'm going to spend 1 of my X tokens to get it up to level 5. So I'll start off by spending 16 money, because remember I've got... So that'll give me 4 change back. Remember, I've got the expert in large animals, so my cost to play this is reduced by 4. I'll play out the golden eagle that I drew last turn, which will give me 7 appeal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then once I finish the current action, I'll be able to perform an additional action. I'll flip that. So that's the structure that the golden eagle's living in. And then I have an Africa partnership. So I could clean myself out, which I think I will. 9, 10, 11, 12. I can play 2 animals, remember. I'll play out the ring-tailed lemur, which will give me another 6 appeal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That was exactly 12 to clean. Actually, that should be 9. I should have 3 more money left. So I'll take, because I forgot I had an Africa partnership. So that's what that will cost me. I took my 6 appeal for playing the ring-tailed lemur. So that advances. And I could perform 1 additional action from the golden eagle after finishing the current action. I can also place my build on 1 or 5, which I think I will trigger... I think I'll place... Let's see. So there's a bit I can trigger. So I'll trigger determination first. I can perform one additional action, which I think will be a build action. And I believe that gives me one card within reputation range. I can't get that sponsors to within reputation range anyway. I'm just deciding what I want to take. I think we'll actually move that down to level 1, which will bring sponsors up to level 5. So that's moving the Great Hornbill. Then I'll use the Golden Eagle to trigger the build, which will cost me 2 money. Actually, yeah, it will cost me 2 money. I'm going to place a kiosk. The question is, where do I want it? I think I want it... We'll put it here, actually, to get 10 money back. Then I can perform the sponsors action, which would give me another 10 money, except I'm completely out of cards, although my next action could be a cards very easily, which I think I actually will do that. So that'll give me the pygmy hippopotamus. I'll perform sponsors to get 10 money. Alright, so that's our first action. Next, we're going to take a cards action, so I'm going to draw... I can draw from within reputation range, or the deck, or snap. I've got space for that Tasmanian Devil to go. Can I fit a 4 anywhere? Yes, I can fit a 4. And I have enough money to play it if I want to spend a couple of X tokens to get it up to level 5. So I think I will go... I can't put a 4 down for water, so that makes the American alligator basically worthless. Well, that kind of blows. But, yeah, so, okay, where was I? Oh, yes, I was looking at cards, what I wanted to draw. I think I will take the white rhinoceros for 1. And do I want the Tasmanian Devil for 2? I think I do. Yeah, I can put down a 4. I can put down a 4 space, but it's going to take me a little bit. I believe they replenish after. Let me look if I'm doing cards. I think they replenish after the action's over, but I'm not sure. I do have to remember that I have to discard 1 card. I'm just looking here. Do not replenish until you've completed the entire action. Okay, that's what I wanted to know. So 2 more cards. So first up, bird breeding program, which requires a bird and a partner zoo of the same continent. Do I have one of those? I've got a couple of bird icons, but I do have a partnership. Okay, never mind. So that one's actually pretty valuable then. And a brown spider monkey, 4 size enclosure, 17 money. Primate and America tags. I need a primate already, and I have a couple of those. I gain 1, 2, or 3 X tokens for 1, 3, or 5 primate icons in my zoo. 1 conservation and 6 appeal. How many primate tags do I have right now? 1, and that's it. So I think I will discard the brown spider monkey. We'll move cards down. Then we'll replenish, I'll move that over. We'll replenish the display, and then I'm going to have to change my battery after I do. So next up we find an American bison, 5 space enclosure, 18 money, herbivore, and 2 America tags, but you need 3. Iconic Animal Americas. Gain 1 appeal for each Americas icon in all zoos, max 8. And Meerkat Den. Sponsors level 5, needs to be adjacent to a rock. For each time you play an herbivore icon into your zoo, gain an appeal. Then for every 6 herbivore icons, you get 1 conservation at the end of the game. So that's all replenished. Before I take my next action, which will trigger our next break, I need to go change my battery. This is going to be very much down to the wire, but I think this will work. So I'm going to take an association action. Actually, do I want to take the association? No, I need to take a build action, because I almost kind of sunk myself on this one. So I'm going to take a build, and I'm going to spend an X token to make it a level 4, because I need one more because I need a 4 space enclosure. So I'm going to take 10 and take a 10 and make 2 change. Question is, can I fit this where I need to? And I think the answer is yes. I need a 4 next to a rock, and I think, yep, I can put it right there, which will give me another X, which will give me the X token I spent back to make that into, which will give me the X token I spent back into it. So that will move that down, and we'll trigger what will be our last break of the game. So we'd start by taking this, covering a donation space, which is fine. Then we discard down to 3, which I already am at. Alright, then we return associates, but I didn't send anybody out. Replace the 1 and the 2 on the display. And everything else slides down. And here we find Siberian Tiger, 5 space enclosure, needs 30 money. Predator and Europe and Asia tag, but you need 3. 1 appeal, 1 reputation, 2 conservation, 10 appeal. I'm going to be relying on my appeal mostly to get my guys together, it looks like. And a Cinerous Vulture, 5 space structure, 1 if it's a birdhouse, 16 money, bird in Asia, scavenging 3. Shuffle the discard pile and draw 3 cards from it. Keep 1 and discard the others. Alright, then I gain my income, which will be 29, 30, 1, 2, 3 money. 20, 30, 1, 2, 3. Let's not send that flying. What else do I gain for income? Right, conservation. We're moving closer and closer to the end of the game here. How much more appeal what am I going to need? Because I'm going to get, I'm probably getting some conservation this turn. Especially if I get to here and take my last university, which will be this could work. Like I said, this will be down to the wire, but this is it. Actually, I don't think I'm going to have enough time to get there because I need to play animals. Well, let's find out. We're into the last turn of the game, so let's see what we're doing here. I think I'm ultimately going to be short, but we're going to give this a try anyway. So I'm going to perform association and spend both of my X tokens to make it a level 7. So since I've upgraded association, I can perform 1 or more different association tasks with a maximum total value of X, which would have to be 7. So I'm going to start by supporting a research project. I've got bird breeding program in my hand. So I've got a bird, and I've got a bird in the Americas and a partnership with the Americas Zoo. So, what do I want here? I think here I want I think here I'll take the 1-time 2 reputation, which will give me actually 4 reputation. Effectively, does that max me out? No, it doesn't, because I do have cards flipped. So 1, 2, Actually, I was here. Yeah, I was here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that gives me my last associate. That gives me another associate. And a card from the deck. Card from the deck or within reputation range. And almost everything here is fair game. So I think I will take the... Actually, I don't know if I particularly want any of these. And I don't have a space where I could put the Siberian Tiger. Plus, I don't have enough Europe. Actually, that's Asia icons. I don't have enough Asia icons for that one. So I think... And I can't put another 5 structure down. So I think I'll just draw from the deck, see if I get something with a little more appeal than this other animal I'm looking at. So here I will draw a white stork, taking 4 money, 9, or taking a 4-space structure, 1 if it's a birdhouse, costing 9 money, giving me a bird and a Europe tag. But I need a Europe tag on the zoo. I'm not playing with the multipliers, and 4 appeal. So, well, maybe helpful. We'll see, though. That gave me a worker that I will immediately use to get another 2 reputation. Actually, I don't think I took the 2 conservation for the bird breeding program, or the 2 reputation... No, I took the... Hold on. That's actually 2 reputations. I actually should be here. I don't know where I was gaining 4 from. Well, actually, no, I do know where I'm gaining 4 from, because I'm gaining 2 there. I'm gaining 2 from sending the... So never mind. This is actually fine. I gained 2 from supporting the bird breeding program, and then 2 more for sending an associate to the... What is that called? The increasing reputation. So, never mind. Panic averted. Then, what else was I doing? There was a way I was getting 2 more conservation. Oh, no, I didn't take the conservation. That's what I didn't do. I will take the university, which will give me the last... Which will give me another reputation, which will give me a total of 3 more conservation. 1, 2, 3... And now I have to pick one of my scoring cards, and I'm going to keep the Naturalist Zoo. Which means I want to have empty... Which means I'm looking at my empty spaces for additional conservation. And then the last associate's going to go make another donation, spending... I gotta make sure I have enough money to do this. To play the cards I was planning to, and I think I do. I need... That's going to cost me 20, that'll cost me 11... Yep, I'm all set there. So, with that in mind, I'm going to pay out the 10 money to make a donation, which will advance my conservation another 1. This might make it a little bit easier for me to get my 2 icons to cross, or my 2 tokens to cross, but we'll find out soon enough. So all of that will advance. And then for my last action, we're going to play animals. And I don't think there's anything within reputation range that will help, so we're going to go with the plan here. I'm going to pay out 20 to play the white rhinoceros, because remember, I have a bunch of research tags, so I can add one of the unused base conservation projects to my hand. I'm not going to bother with that, though, because we're at the end of the game at this point. I'll get 9 appeal for that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then I'll pay out another 11 to play out a Tasmanian Devil. So I can place 1 card from my hand under this card to gain 2 appeal, which I'll place the white stork that I picked up earlier under that. So I'll get another reputation, which will give me a highly irrelevant X token, but 2 more appeal for a total of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that might have actually made it so my 2 tokens will cross. But that's triggered the end of the game, so now we're into endgame scoring. assuming I have enough empty building spaces on my zoo to be able to make this cross. So I've got to count out the empty building spaces. 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So that drops down to 12. 1, 2. My 2 tokens have just barely crossed each other. But that's enough to cross. So I have managed to win the solo game for this one, which is kind of surprising, actually. It was not looking good with the cards that were coming out during the game, but these are technically advanced, but it's not going to matter. So yes, I have just barely managed to cross. I didn't do a lot. I didn't do a lot with conservation until late, but we managed to pull it off. So my history with this game has been an interesting one, where the very first time I played this game, I absolutely loathed it. And I think my big problem with it, and I'm very guilty of doing this, and I need to be careful about it, is I was letting my enjoyment of the game affect my feelings on the game, and I was not being objective at all with it. So the second time we played this game on my Saturday group, I really tried to take my feelings out of it and just focus on, okay, what is the game like? And I realized that I actually really enjoyed this one. Mechanically, it's a very interesting game where you have to think a lot and be able to adapt on the fly. I didn't really come in with a strategy, as you probably saw. My zoo is very much all over the place, but ultimately we did manage to get there in the end. So yeah, this is one that I really enjoy. Probably just on the edge of being Wednesday content, honestly. I was initially thinking of this one as being a Sunday-only game, but I think when I get to editing, I'll be able to find out for sure what day this will work on. So I'm rambling now. Let's go ahead and wrap this video up. We're getting into a busy weekend, a busy Thanksgiving weekend on the channel. Later this afternoon, I'm probably going to try to do a bout in the Greatest Boxer Tournament entitled Bout 2. Starting Wednesday, we're going to have the Fate of the Elder Gods Tournament to determine our opponent for Christmas in Arkham. More details are in the video that I put up on that yesterday. And then Mystical Munchies next week on Saturday. Actually, this coming Saturday will be the dessert out of the Heroes Feast Dungeons & Dragons cookbook as we cook up Trolltide candied apples. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care, everyone.